Kept going. How's it going, Fox fam? GM. Welcome to the governance call number 11. It's been a long time that we've been doing these now. I can't believe we're all the way up to number 11. This is crazy. Um, Welcome all to the call. If you haven't been here before, if you're joining us because of the cool news of the bonds or things like that, this is the ShapeShift DAO weekly governance call where we go over all of the ideas and proposals that have been proposed by the community and are in some form of idea gestation or complete proposal or past form. And we get updates about things that have passed and where we might be able to find more information about that. And then we follow up with conversations around proposals that are still in ideation or up for proposal, as well as brainstorming any new ideas that might be coming down the pipeline or things that might be bubbling up in the Discord. Um, yeah, we are turning it up to 11, so that's really, really cool. Ours go to 11. On that, if you're looking for some slides to follow along, there's a Zoom posted in the stage chat. You can click there and join to watch what's going on. And there is a POAP QR code there. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work or not. If you haven't been following along in either our Discord or the POAP Discord, there's been some major changes that team is going through to try and stop the POAP farmers from ruining our cool, fun, collectible NFTs. Ooh, it works right now. Cool. Maybe the big warnings were scary enough to stop some of the farmers. So grab those POAPs while you can. We've got POAPs for probably the next 2 meetings or 2 weeks worth of meetings already created. So we're going to do our best to keep providing those for you. And then we've got some changes coming down the pipeline with a new POAP bot and however the new team decides POAP generation is going to come. We are one of the early event creators, so they're going to grandfather us into the system so we won't get cut out. But POAPs will be changing and we will be changing with them, so stay tuned for all of that. We could move on to the next slide, please. All right, so this week we are going to talk about proposals that just recently passed. We've got some that are up for vote right now that could really use your votes. We've got some proposals that are still at the forum about to hit the place that they can go from ideation all the way into a proposal. And then we've got some different posts inside the forum to talk about and potentially a new forum post that could be made out of this call as we talk about the Fox bonds, kind of what happened there and what our options are moving forward with what we could do with potentially raising the caps or seeing if we could lean a little further into DAO-owned liquidity. So, and then we're going to have a little bit of space to discuss potential proposals. And actually that number 5 where it says space to discuss governance process, I'm going to slide that up a couple of slides and we're actually going to go through exactly how an idea goes from a seed in Discord all the way to a fully passed proposal that gets funding from the DAO. Because it's always at the back of these slides, but we don't really talk about it every time. And we had someone kind of jump the process in ideation. So we're going to use that as a good learning example to go back and talk about how these things happen. So next slide, please. Oh, and no shame on that person. Hey, they were excited about contributing to the DAO. I think that anyone who wants to hop up in here and be a part of the DAO, we want to bring them into the community, but we want them to follow our process so we can get those good ideas through the things that we've developed. If you haven't checked out Never Was's always updated, beautiful spreadsheet of all of the DAO proposals and data on all of those, please check it out. Never Was puts in lots of work just jumping in from the community to pick up wherever he can. And this is one of his babies that he puts lots of time and energy into. So thank you, Never Was, for keeping that up. I always got to plug it because it's really, really cool and is a great insight into all of the things we're about to talk about. Next slide, please. All right, the first thing that passed in our series of proposals that passed this week that we're going to talk briefly about and maybe next steps is the YAT proposal. Do we have Volley around at all to talk about it? If not, maybe we've got someone from product that can talk about next steps that are going to happen with this integration and where we look at with the roadmap, because I know that's something that was proposed later, and this will have to get integrated into that.
Hey, Tyler, I can speak if I don't see Volley here today, but this proposal has passed. And as you see on the slide, it includes $60,000 worth of Fox actually for a bounty to integrate Yat. The thing is that the bounty is to integrate Yat in the mobile app, which is part of the legacy closed source ShapeShift app. So right now, just because the proposal is passed, just important note for any future proposal for a feature doesn't necessarily mean that it's automatically prioritized. So now this bounty is available. That's definitely a really strong carrot for either the product workstream to prioritize it, or like in the future, the hope is that we will be able to create bounties for feature work that any developer can come complete the bounty and add it to the open source version. But because this is a closed source version, and right now only ShapeShift engineers have access to the closed source code, and onboarding a new developer to that closed source app would distract them from their goal of launching the open source version, the new version of ShapeShift. Right now, engineering is focused on that. So we're going to touch base with the Yat team and just get clear with them on what the next steps will be, but also just be clear with them that we're not anticipating starting development work on this month at least. That's a quick update there, and hopefully is a good just reminder for us for future proposals that just because a proposal to integrate something passes does not mean it is automatically prioritized and will get executed.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that reminder, Willie. That's great to keep everyone's expectations in line with how these proposals work and how much dev time we have on our hands to keep making this awesome DAO and decentralized product going. Next slide, please. All right, we've got Lorax Dude. Lorax Dude's proposal just passed, and he also kindly has accepted a new proposal that got added as well. Willie, do we have someone from the other merge team here as well, or do we have Lorax Dude who could give a brief update to the community about what we're doing our next steps for?
Fortunately, I don't see either of them today, but I'm happy to cover. So Lorax Dude's proposal has passed, but as mentioned in the last governance call, he is kindly going to wait to start executing this because there is a early stage proposal for an alternative provider for a merchandise store. And that was just posted in the forum earlier today. It hasn't entered ideation yet, but you can see kind of their draft proposal. It also includes a 65% revenue share as well as no setup cost. Basically, Top Drawer Merch would fund all the setup cost as well as the ongoing cost. So they would handle creating the store, running the Shopify store, which would get Shopify Premium for free, which is a $6,500 per month cost. They would handle designing the swag. The community would have the ability to vote on the swag. And they would also handle manufacturing it, storing it, and drop shipping it. So it's really a full service solution. And Lorax Dude was just really open-minded and kind. Once he heard about it, he agreed that it does seem like a very viable alternative. And he wanted to give the community the opportunity to consider it before moving forward with his proposal. So what we're doing now, this proposal for the alternative merch store has been posted in the forum, and you can see it in the proposal discussion Discord channel. And we're going to be doing an AMA with the Top Drawer Merch team on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. That will give everyone the chance to get to know the Top Drawer Merch team, ask questions, and compare it to this proposal. And the current plan that Lorax Dude is on board with is that if we like what we've seen during the ideation stage and during the AMA, then we can put a proposal to governance to either go with Top Drawer Merch as our merchandise store provider, in which case Lorax Dude would not proceed with this proposal that has already passed. Or if the Top Drawer Merch proposal does not pass, then we would proceed with Lorax Dude's proposal, which has already passed. Furthermore, I want to really just thank Lorax Dude for all the effort he put into this proposal. It was an awesome proposal, and the community did support it, and appreciate him for being open-minded and giving the community the chance to consider this alternative, even though he really didn't have to. So really appreciate that, and I would like to request that in this Top Drawer Merch proposal, if we do move forward with it, that we include some compensation for Lorax Dude for his time and efforts.
Yeah, I agree with you, Willie, there. Lorax Dude is setting a great example there for how the DAO might need to make changes when we are faced with new information. So thank you, Lorax Dude. Thank you, Willie. And I'm looking forward to that AMA to find out much more about Top Drawer. All right. Next slide, please. The next past proposal with a huge sign of approval with 8.9 million votes there is for the Cosmos validator to be created by Marley ShapeShift. Congratulations, Marley. Would you like to hop up here and talk about next steps or where people can follow along with your progress in the validator and where we could see updates?
I've got like a little website up, and I'm just working on transitioning things into my infrastructure. And so the timeline actually starts November 1st, and I'll have more updates before then. But I don't know if there's anything other than it passed. I'm super hyped. So
Also super hyped. Excited to see this get going and then more chains that you can add as well in the future. I think that you can really bring some great revenue back to the DAO with this proposal and more.
yeah, I'm super excited with that too. I have started looking at some other cool projects and stuff, like Yumi and Evmos, and like got some testnet stuff set up there. So I'm just learning, and it seems like it could be a great opportunity for the DAO as well. So we'll get there when we get there.
No idea what either of those chains are. I feel like I'm getting old now, but that's super exciting. Sweet, thanks, Marley. And up next is the past proposal to fund the customer support work stream. I know Meg is out right now. She's moving to a new house. Do we have Mogi in the audience at all that wants to chat about this? If he's not around, I'm happy to just let them know that this now funds a full work stream we've got for support. They've been actually pretty busy today. We've had a couple of issues that have escalated through triage in regards to the V2 farming contract. So you can see the hard work that they put in, and they are a pretty sweet team of a bare bones crew that offers 24/7 support that we've had from centralized ShapeShift for quite a while. So you can see all of the details from the previous proposal a couple of calls ago about the structure of the support work stream, but this is to fund and make sure that they can continue doing what they're doing and keeping all of our users happy and responded to in a quick fashion. So, all right, next slide, please. And now we're on to the active proposals. And Chow, how's it going?
Doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, we have the proposed product roadmap through December 2021. Obviously, it has a lot of support, which is really exciting. The voting does end tomorrow. If anyone wants to get their I think it's at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. If anyone wants to get their final votes in. But yeah, we've started working on a couple things that are on this roadmap already, like Yearn, from a design perspective. So that's great.
Sorry, couldn't find my unmute button there. We're going to keep you on stage, though, because I think you're on the next slide as well. If you want to hop on down to that.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so integrate on Juno for on-ramps and off-ramps and have the DAO earn revenue via its partner program. In beta, we have Gem and Banksa. On mobile, we currently just have Banksa. Those are both great options. Couple reasons why Juno is great is partly because they do a revenue share with the DAO. Neither Banksa nor Gem are currently set up to do that. We also don't have Banksa or Gem set up in the open source version. So I think on Juno is great for that piece. The other piece is you can do more or less instantaneous ACH buys, which is unusual for a buy option. So would love to get some more support behind this. I think it's a great option. We had a call with them, and I think the recording is in the recordings channel, but it was, I don't know, I think 3 weeks ago or so. But if anyone has any questions, please let me know. But also would love to have some more votes thrown behind this one. I think it ends tomorrow at noon Mountain Time.
Yes, it does. Awesome. And I'm not exactly sure if I'm not good at doing quorum math. I think we're not quite at quorum yet, so we could love to see a little bit more support on this one.
I think we have soft quorum on
Are we at
this.
soft?
I think, but I got to double check my calculations. But yes, definitely love some more support on this one.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Chad, for those updates on both of those. Next slide, please. All right, we've seen this slide kind of hop through all of the governance calls multiple times, and I'm really happy to say that I think this is finally the version that Mr. Nerdhair has approved, and that ShapeShift will be able to really get behind, so we can get some more cool treasury diversification and management underneath our community sleeves. Brian, are you out there? I'm not sure. If not, there's many calls where we've talked about this in depth, both in an AMA and on many governance calls. So please check out the proposal, check out the forum posts about the One Fox. I don't need to say much more because the community's already got 7 million votes behind this one as well. So I think this is the 5th or 6th time it was drafted, but that's the charm here. And I'm glad that Brian put in all the hard work here with our Foxes to make sure that we could get a great proposal that the community was interested in and could put support behind. All right, let's move on to the next slide, please. Ideation is back in boardroom, sort of. There was a post that made it into ideation yesterday, and I'm not exactly sure who posted it because it's just a 0x address and we don't need to shame anyone or publicly out them. They can keep their anonymity there. But this person put a new idea about token economics and boosting some utility of Fox token, but they didn't really follow the structure for how we post something once it's in ideation. And they also didn't follow the protocol that we have for how we post things through our governance process. So unfortunately, we are going to remove this post from Boardroom once we are able to, so it will not go any further than where it is right now. But I'd like to take this time to take that idea and show the rest of our governance process as well. We've got some slides right after this to walk through the process, and Willie just jumped on stage. I don't know, Willie, do you want to talk about this process or this proposal as well at all?
Oh, no, I'm looking forward to you walking us through the process. I just wanted to mention, too, that we did reach out to the boardroom team about this, and they're actually going to be just hiding the ideation feature until it's fixed. They're still actively working with the Ceramic team, and unfortunately, it's a bit out of their control because they're dependent on the Ceramic blockchain team to basically help them fix this issue that we helped uncover. So, just fortunately, though, hiding ideation from boardroom should at least both hide this proposal or this ideation as well as prevent this mistake from happening in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for that color there. I know operations has been testing the boardroom with different wallets to see if we could make posts and do proposals. And we've seen some issues with KeyKey. We've seen some more success on at least voting with MetaMask and Ledger. But yeah, it sounds like hiding that for now and keeping the process that we've developed in the forum right now is probably the best way for us to go forward. So if we could hop to this next slide, please, I can walk the community through how we go from an idea to a proposal. These are the different services that ShapeShift uses inside our governance stack. We're using Discord, we're using Discourse, and we've got a nice skin over the top of that. Snapshot, Gnosis Safe, and Colony as well. And Boardroom happens to be a really great interface that we're having some issues with for what we just talked a minute ago about the ideation part. But Boardroom's a nice interface for all of these to feed into one, so we don't have to use this entire stack and log in the 5 different things. But so if we're going to start, next slide, please. We're going to do in this process, actually, let's go one more slide too. There's lots of, there we go. So we've got a Fox here who comes into the Discord and they've got a great idea for a proposal, perhaps. The first place that we want to go to is right into the Discord. There we've got an incubation channel. We've got the general, we've got the random channel. We've also got all of the different governance channels related to active proposals or proposal discussions, or even just straight governance if you'd like to talk in there. And those are great places for anyone to get the start of an idea or something that they think would be good to help the DAO out started. Throw your ideas out there. We've got lots of different Foxes that are now pretty well versed in teasing these proposals out and asking the really hard questions that we'd like to ask to make sure that it's something that benefits the DAO and the ShapeShift product and the ecosystem for cryptocurrency in general. So someone brings an idea to Discord, and let's go to the next slide, please. And after they've gotten through all of that stages in Discord, maybe we've got the idea ready to move it on to the next stage, where there's a little bit more of a format here. They're outlined on the ShapeShift forum. You will see how to make posts inside the next stage here. And this is kind of the best way to design or implement this idea. Here we're going to ask some more hard-hitting questions about how this would be implemented. What does this benefit to the ShapeShift DAO? Maybe some requirements that it might ask, some drawbacks or benefits that it has. And there's a clear outline designed by Willie Fox that's posted in the Fox forum that you can follow all of those along and kind of just do a cut and paste of grab the question and put your next post in there. And so here, this is where people can talk back and forth and give ideas. They can show support via likes. There's little hearts that you can click there to say that I support this. This doesn't require any sort of Fox here at this point right now. This is all just free brainstorming ideas. Anyone off the internet could come in here and join the DAO and provide a good idea here, and it doesn't require any skin in the game. Next slide, please. All right. In here too, we're doing our best to make sure we get all of the feedback about this. There's a 5-day period that we like to have inside the forum post to make sure that the community can see any idea that's posted and going to go all the way through the proposal process. This is to make sure that we don't have something flash all the way through and someone buy a whole bunch of Fox and change the name of Fox to a different coin, or I don't know, something random they could do if they were able to do so instantaneously and had a whole bunch of allocation there. So after it's made it through the 5 days there, we move on into Snapshot. Next slide, please. And the Snapshot has ideation and the proposal, and both of those have 5-day periods where you can signal your support in ideation for it by putting some Fox. You don't have to stake it or anything. It's just saying I am in support or I am against this, and then you can also add comments there. This time now we're connected to the blockchain and we're using really cool Web3 stuff underneath it. And then after that point, we go to a full proposal. So after the 5-day period in ideation, we go to a full proposal that, even though it's done in Snapshot, is right now, hopefully through the UI of Boardroom, is a nice, clean, easy way for you to connect your wallet and vote for a proposal that passes or does not pass, depending on how the rest of the community feels about this. So next slide, please. And then hopefully we haven't gotten quite here yet, where we're going to plug Gnosis Safe into all of this eventually, and the Treasury will be able to send kind of automatically based on the past proposals. Right now we've got some intermediaries as we developed fully from centralized ShapeShift to decentralized ShapeShift. But this will be something that will eventually, as our process continues to iterate, become more automatic, and you will be able to see straight from your idea to a transaction on the blockchain the funds that can propose your next idea inside ShapeShift. Next slide, please. And the requested funds get transferred over to Colony, this great service built on XDAI that we are using for all of our different work streams. There's been a whole bunch of conversations in an AMA at Colony that's also been recorded, and all of our work stream leaders are using this to pay our work streams. So if you have any questions about how do bounties or work streams get paid via Fox, via proposals, there's lots of people who have experience in here that are happy to answer your questions, or else there's great videos that you can also watch in our recorded channels to be able to get more information on that. Next slide, please. All right, so we have some new forum posts that made it into the forum. I'll take a step back since ideation is broken.
Did we miss the active proposal that just went up today? I thought you had it earlier.
Is that the merch store?
No, the cryptozoology, the NFT one.
It is number 2 on the slides right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
But it did. Did it go into actual up for proposal now?
It's live on Snapshot.
Awesome. Yeah, that might have just missed my slide update, so I can update that after this call. So it's actually on an active proposal. But can people vote for that one right now? I'm sure we can have Luna come up and talk about that as well.
Yeah, it's active for voting, it looks like.
Awesome. Thanks for that clarification and update, John. You guys keep sneaking new proposals in right as I'm about to get my last edits on my slides. If we have Luna Hawk, John, or Mr. Nerdhair that would like to talk about the newest forum posts, or I guess now full proposal for Luna Hawk, I'd love to give you guys the stage to talk a couple of minutes about your proposals.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Yeah. So it just went into boardroom or snapshot, I'm sorry, this morning at noon or this afternoon. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It was a continuation on from what people have been asking for more NFTs. And so basically this one's going to be the animals of cryptozoology. So all the fun animals that have been a part of the history of crypto over the years and done in a unique and fun way. And then those will be given to the ShapeShift DAO treasury to be sold or held onto or auctioned off, whatever they see fit. And yeah, that's pretty straightforward with it, but it is up for voting in Snapshot. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, or if you have any concerns, also let me know.
Awesome, and apologies on not getting your slide updated all the way. Happy to know that you're all the way in proposals.
Hey guys, as the output of the Itchy review, I've created a risk report, which is a name I've just come up with off the top of my head. So sorry, it sounds silly, but there's a Notion page that will record all the reports that people have requested for the security workstream to make on various proposals. And if you would like a more thorough explanation of the various risks, technical, economic, governance related, that come with voting for a particular proposal, drop us a line in Security Public, and we will prepare an official report for you and stick it on the page.
Awesome. Thanks, Mr. Nerdhair. Excited that those will start churning out. John, do you have some updates about these ShapeShift CDs?
Yeah, so there's more details in the forum post, and I'm probably going to go ahead and move this to ideation and move forward with some of the things that happened in or that I outlined in that forum post today, actually, because it's going to just start moving forward. But the cool thing for anyone who hasn't read it yet is basically the ShapeShift company, at least today, holds the majority, 681 of these ShapeShift CDs that were minted all the way back in 2015 on Counterparty. They're basically like, some of the oldest and, potentially rarest NFTs that have ever been created. And the idea is that most of these are going to be burned to cement that rarity. And 32 are going to be left in ShapeShift's possession. 16 will go to the corp that will be basically auctioned off as part of its wind down. And 16, and this is what the proposal is about, will actually be given into the ShapeShift DAO treasury. So there's basically some tranches. The idea is that 5 would be available immediately to the DAO to do whatever it wants with. 5 would unlock in a year, and then 6 would unlock in 2 years. So all the DAO needs to do is to vote yes on those terms, basically, to agree to that social consensus of those tranches, and it'll get these 16 ShapeShift CDs in its treasury, and they could prove to be quite valuable. We'll find out as they start getting auctioned off. But there was one that sold recently, just less than 3 weeks ago for 25 ETH, and that was with a bunch of speculation about whether this wallet that ShapeShift holds was ever going to become active again. So when people hear that it's burned, I think people will be very interested in these. We'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, these could become quite a valuable asset of the DAO. So pretty cool, and the DAO basically just kind of gets them for free to do what it wants with.
super exciting and kind of strange and random from the rest of our proposals that we have going so far, but super awesome to see how widespread all of these DAO proposals can be. And I'm excited to see what we can do with these. Maybe we can build a new card game off of them or something. make even more money.
Yeah, I mean, again, these things are relics. So, I mean, it's really up to the DAO. You know, the DAO, there's ideas of like maybe the DAO should sell one or two and, you know, use that to just get a little ETH, but maybe the DAO should also hold some of these for the very long term. I mean, these are the type of things that, you know, the way that, you know, with what we've seen with like CryptoPunks and how much people care about these old NFTs. If a market picks up and NFTs, you know, keep taking over the world, you know, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, these things are worth, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. Who knows? No one really knows where these things will go, but I think holding on to at least a few of them is probably a smart move. But ultimately, once they're in the DAO treasury, that's up to the community.
Yep, it sounds like we have some more proposals to be cooking up for what to do with next steps on that. But super excited to know that the treasury can hold on to those. All right, and we go next slide. Cool. Now we're gonna have a kind of different discussion than we usually have in our governance calls. We just launched the Fox bonds with Olympus, and those have sold out almost every second that they've been available. And so I thought it would be wise of us to get someone from Olympus out, maybe John or Willie up as well, and we can talk about future options for the community, what we could potentially do as a community, as a proposal, maybe to raise some caps, raise some limits, get some more people in there, update things. Yeah, and it looks like we've got Abby pop up here. So I'll pass the stage to you guys and let you lead this conversation.
Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can.
Okay,
You
cool.
sound a
Yeah.
little bit far away from your mic, though. If you could just
Okay,
move a little
give me-
closer.
Yeah, for sure. Give me 2 seconds. Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, it's better. People can also turn their volume up on you. That's what I just did.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry. Stages kind of, I don't know. I have an old phone and it does not like Discord stages. So I'll try my best here. So yeah. I'm super impressed with how the bond program has turned out so far. Y'all are really thirsty for the Fox bonds. So it's pretty impressive to see. We see that a lot, especially the first few days where there's just like so much, a lot of hype going, a lot of turn going for it or whatever. So it's nice to see it happen here too, for sure. So whatever y'all want to do from Olympus side, we can support that. You want to increase caps, we can roll through it.
And I wanted to just jump up and let the community know, as a benefit to coming to calls like this, we have scheduled a press release for this announcement that is going out at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, tomorrow morning. And so if you are interested and you see that the funding rate looks good for you, I would take a look before those times and see if you can snap it up before the press release goes live and we start attracting a lot more interest at that point.
Love the alpha.
Yeah, so I think this is a good discussion for the community to have. So the way to think about it is right now, basically what we're seeing with the bond, that there's definitely seems to be more bond demand, and it's hard to tell how this will play out over weeks and months, because this program goes for the entire duration of the liquidity mining program that goes 4.5 months. But it does seem like there's pretty good demand, and I think part of what we need to discuss as a community is basically like how much liquidity do we want the DAO to acquire. So right now, the target, the way that the initial program was set, was for like 1.5 million over the 4.5 months. I personally think that's a bit low. I think it was great as an experiment, but seeing how this stuff happens and how powerful this protocol-owned liquidity can be, I personally would be for upping it. And we could always try this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Abipup, but we could try this even for like a few weeks. Like maybe we don't change the whole schedule, but we say for 2 weeks or the next few weeks, we want to up the capacity, 3 or 5x or some number like that, and also up the max payout amount.
You totally can do that. Actually, it's
Yeah.
pretty simple to do. Actually, and a little background. Not going to get too technical in the details, anything like that. But for those on the call here, how it kind of works logistically speaking is that there's a treasury, a custom treasury that kind of is the staging grounds for the Fox tokens that your DAO sends those Fox tokens to, and it's held there almost like an allowance. And that amount every time you bond, it draws from that and then sends it to the bond contract, which then vests over time. And so how that can play out, if you want to, the only two things you really need to do, three things, I guess, if you want to increase or decrease, change your emissions is, let's say you want to double your emissions, you probably want to double the allowance that you give in the treasury, and then you also decrease the BCV, which I think we talked about before a little bit in the AMA. Just basically, you kind of push the gas on how fast the discounts happen, so that you'll see more like 5%, 10% discounts more often, and people can slip up those bonds quicker. So you're adding gas to the tank, and you're also putting your foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, I know Willie, you've had some thoughts on this. Do you want to share them with the community or kind of talk about next steps for us to do something on this?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty clear that the current allocation we have, there's more demand from the market for the current allocation. So, I appreciate you explaining that there's kind of those two parameters that we can consider. Yeah, I mean, I'm personally in favor of increasing both. I think the challenge is like, what's the right amount to increase them? And those are the main considerations. So I'm glad that we're having this discussion. I don't know exactly what the right amount is, but I mentioned that I would support at least doubling the allocation, kind of as a minimum, because that would put us just in line with the current Fox issuance. And just so far, the program seems to be going really well. So, and there's clearly more demand. So that's my the initial thought. But I know John's interested in potentially even increasing it further than that. And ultimately, it'll be up to the community. So, Abipup, how do you guys? Can
This
you guys
would be
give
a
us any
great time
guidance?
if
Go ahead.
anyone else in the community has any thoughts on this, on like how much you think we should set this allocation. I mean, ultimately, this will need to go. I'm assuming. I guess this is something. I guess for the community to discuss. This is something that, in a perfect world, would be nicer to be able to adjust more in real time. But in order for us to allocate more Fox, that's going to have to go to a community governance vote. I'm assuming. So, it's probably good for us to get that process started sooner because if we take in the time of ideation and snapshot, it's probably going to take at least a week, if not more. So it would be good for us to have a proposal, someone to put up a proposal of what that change should look like. My suggestion would be something like, let's up it 3 or even 5x for 2 weeks, not for the whole time, and then reevaluate. But yeah, I'm curious on others' thoughts.
I have more of a question than a thought for Abipup. Can you, in your experience with working with other DAOs and just other people who are using this bond program, do they have like a sort of a target amount of protocol-owned liquidity that they're going for? Or is there like a theoretical point of diminishing returns? That's sort of what I'm kind of curious about, because like on one hand, I feel like the more the better, but that may not be the case, and I'm wondering if people smarter than me have already analyzed that.
Yeah, for sure. And it does depend on the goals of each different partner. So some partners are just saying, we want to try it out, and we want to see how protocol owned liquidity could look for us just from like kind of a technical level, not necessarily interested so much in getting 100% of the pool that, the liquidity pool that they're taking in. But just to see, is there a better way for us to emit the tokens that we want to get out into the world? That's maybe a little bit more capital efficient, a little bit less kind of mercenary than Pool 2 is. So that's kind of like one goal that I've seen so far. Another one is more like, okay, we really do want to own our pool and we want to be efficient with it. And so that's a different goal. And we want to own quite a bit of it too, over like a longer period of time. And those two different kind of plans result in slightly different strategies for how to emit the token. And the first one, you're just like, okay, we want to get our token out there. We want people to use our token and have a governance or whatever it is that the point of the token is. And so you care more about kind of like I was talking about before, getting the gas, punching the gas, getting the gas on the pedal, and that can result sometimes in steeper discounts. And so it's a bit less capital efficient for the protocol to, emit their tokens. They're getting more tokens out and a little bit less liquidity in return for that. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you'll with the other strategy, you're really trying to tailor. Okay, I want X amount of protocol owned liquidity. We don't want to be giving like 50% discounts on our tokens, so we're fine with doing it over kind of like a slower period of time. That's fine. So you'll see like a little bit more touchy on that gas pedal, and you'll see the discounts kind of coming down slower. You'll see maybe 5%, 6% discounts over time. So it just depends on what your goals are there. And I'll also kind of want to see if we want to frame the discussion that if you want to emit so much, there's a risk that your demand does not match your supply. And so if we go to like 100x emissions or something like that, like, maybe you can keep up. I'd be super happy if you can keep up with that demand or with that supply. But what happens if you can't is that you'll start to see like really steep discounts, 25, 30, 40% discounts, where you're just emitting too much, and there's not enough demand to pick it up. So I guess the way that I would want to frame that a little bit is, can we emit in a way such that we're allowed to give up to a certain maximum, like 3, 5x, whatever. And if we see such and such discount too much, not related to price action, I think I talked a little bit more before about how price action can affect discounts. But if we see discounts related more to not enough demand, then we can kind of taper it back. That was a lot of words. Sorry, guys.
No, it was really helpful. I appreciate you going through that.
For sure.
So I think that what we need is the proposal should, I think this is maybe Abby Pup, what you might have been alluding to, is whatever proposal comes next should give a set of parameters and assign someone or a committee the ability to, as John's point was, adjust real time, but within a given set of parameters. I think that would.
That's a great idea, Josh. I didn't even think about that, but that would be ideal, I think, because I do think that there needs to be someone on behalf of the DAO who's watching this who can adjust it faster than it takes for a governance proposal.
Yeah, and then the community still has the say, because you cannot go outside the given parameters without coming back for a vote.
Yeah. So I'll give a bit of context into how like Olympus DAO works, which, by the way, is super fascinating to see how you guys like run the meetings and everything like that within the DAO. Very cool to see. How it works specifically with the policy group in Olympus for our bonds is that the DAO has kind of delegated some responsibility of managing our BCVs and our bonds to a group of people to manage semi-autonomously. So we'll get together in kind of a committee roundtable, and we'll say, okay, we want to adjust the bond this way or that way. We don't have to go to a governance vote every time for that. It's just we're given kind of the ability to do that within a certain kind of range of parameters. We're not allowed to adjust capacity by more than a certain percent each time, and yada yada. So it's quite specific to Ohm. It's not going to really carry over so much to a non-rebasing token. But yeah, so if just for example, that's how we do it. It works okay for us. But if your setup in your DAO is different, and you really want to retain that kind of community control over it, it's going to be a more hands-on on the community experience.
Never was. I know you popped up here. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
No problem. Thanks, Elipop. Really appreciate the explanation. It makes a lot of sense. And Josh, great idea. I think that would work great. I agree with John, what you were just saying, how we test it out for a few weeks. I think, it's going to take a week or two before we can even see, what this level out or kind of get a little bit more relaxed because of gas prices right now. You can't really tell demand when gas is really high because some people aren't getting involved. Some people are still getting involved. But yeah, I'd love to see where these discounts kind of level out, and then we can kind of definitely make adjustments. The only other point that I would say, I'm a little bit more cautious in a lot of this in regard certain aspects, and I just would bring back, and it won't be affected within this round, this 4.2 months or 4.5 months that we're doing with this initial one, obviously. But I do think that governance tokens are very fragile in some cases, and we have to be careful of supply and demand and all the things that go into certain aspects of our voting process. So down the road, if we continue, programs similar to this, and we divest our tokens into other treasuries and such like that, I just want to make sure that we have processes in place, as do those treasuries, that how the voting would be accomplished and how it would be applied, and maybe even in the future, with Omni, we could do some type of deal where we do like a buyback at a certain percentage above the Fox rate or something, 2% above the going price or something. Our treasury can buy back a certain percentage, not the whole thing, but maybe like a certain percentage, and then just kind of get that voting power back into the treasury of our own. Obviously, we want DAOs to have voting power and relationships with us, but at the same time, I just don't think that expending too much of that outside can be beneficial in the long run. But obviously, that will change over time. So that's the only thing that I would say.
Yeah, great points. Never was. So I guess just trying to figure out what the next action items are here. I don't know who will be able to do it, but it would be great if someone in the community would be willing to get a proposal going. And in this case, I think with so much of the community being aware and talking about this, it might even be okay for that proposal to go on the forum post and go pretty quickly into ideation. I like the idea. I put kind of an example of what I might want to see, although I'm very up for suggestions from anyone else in the stage chat. So maybe that can serve as a template if someone wants to get that going. And see, and then I love the idea of tacking on Josh's idea onto it, of basically creating a committee of people who will basically be in charge of evaluating and adjusting these within certain parameters that are defined in that proposal. But personally, I'd love to see that going as quickly as possible, so that maybe we could make adjustments to this, within, maybe just a little more than a week or something like that. That would be awesome. I think in this case, this would be, usually I want these snapshot proposals to go the full, having a good week has been a really good standard so far. But in this case, the minimum 72 hours might make sense, just because it might be in the community's best interest to adjust this sooner than later. At least giving it a shot for like 2 weeks. But anyway, hoping someone will pick that up and start moving that forward. And yeah, Abipub, thank you so much. And you and the whole Olympus crew who have been so helpful through all of this and coming and chatting with us about this today.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Love learning about new things and love talking to you guys.
So thanks, Abby Pup, and thanks all the foxes that hopped up to have that conversation. I think that's very revealing, and I hope we get someone to hop up on the next steps of that. If anyone wants to claim that right now in the stage chat, that's a great way to probably get yourself a couple of tips from John is John, at least. So I would love to see that go a little bit further if we can get there with that. We have one more slide up, and these are the old forum posts that have not much activity going on in them. They've maybe gone a little bit stale. These slowly get dropped off of the slide presentation as weeks go on if people aren't very interested in them. And then I hope that if the idea sparks someone else, that we start a new forum post with new ideas and new blood in there, new eyes. So we've got some of these. I know that at least one that Willie Fox has his name on is probably going to go further and not die out. And I think probably looks like Diggy's got one too. So I'd love for each of you guys to talk about the updates and where we are with these proposals and maybe what else needs to happen so we can get this across the finish line.
Thanks, Tyler. LPX or Kyle Stargarden, if you are in the audience, feel free to jump up. The latest with this incentivized liquidity mining program for HoneySwap. We should probably rename the title of that because we're no longer discussing liquidity mining. Instead, we're discussing a token swap with the OneHive community of Fox for Honey. This has been supported very strongly in their community. There's a post in that forum thread that's linked there, just gauging community sentiment. And at this point, we can move this forward to the proposal stage. It's been an ideation. It's got majority support right now. There's pretty strong signal that the OneHive DAO will support this as well. And they've also kind of put together an implementation plan for how we could actually execute the token swap involving like a multi-sig of a mix of contributors, both from the ShapeShift DAO and the OneHive DAO, because we need to basically set up a Gnosis safe both on mainnet as well as a Gnosis safe on XDAI or transferred over beforehand. But basically that's the current plan. And I think at this point we're ready to just move this forward to the proposal stage. But if anyone has any questions before then or feedback, happy to talk about that now. I'll give one more note on this. The idea is that we would not only just do a token swap, but the idea is that we'd swap $100,000 worth of Fox for Honey tokens, which is OneHive's governance token. And then both DAOs, both ShapeShift DAO and OneHive DAO, would deposit $200,000 of liquidity for the Fox and Honey pair on HoneySwap on XDAI. So this will add $400,000 of liquidity to this pool without having to rent any of this. It'll be protocol owned liquidity. So the ShapeShift DAO will own this. It'll be a balance on our asset sheet, and not only a balance, but a revenue generating asset because we will be earning fees from trading. This is a pretty cool experiment for another alternative to liquidity mining, another form of protocol owned liquidity. And if it goes well, we can both follow up with a follow-on proposal to do a larger token swap if we want to, and can also consider doing similar token swaps with other protocols as a way to establish Fox liquidity without liquidity mining.
Super exciting to see that this is moving and getting that much support from the other community as well. I took a look at their proposal, and it's cool to see other DAOs and their other governance processes and proposals and things like that, and know that we're not alone out there. So super excited to get this treasury management diversification out there and work with some other DAOs. Diggy, I see you're up here too. You want to chat for a little bit about what's going on with Pendo?
Thank you. So we were actually waiting on Pendo because this is the first time that they would be potentially contracting their product with a DAO. And since we don't have any like centralized entity to sign a contract per se, they were looking at options on their side from a legal perspective. And they informed us yesterday that they came up with a solution. And so we're super excited about that. That said, we will be moving this proposal forward. It has about 94% upvotes in the forum. So yeah, it will no longer be a stale proposal sitting there. We are ready to move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Diggy, for that. And yeah, I know sometimes these take some process, and having people work with something like a DAO is going to have its hoops. I'm so glad that Pendo's been able to keep fighting with us to figure out the best way that we can work with them and maybe pay them in Fox or crypto. All right. Well, if we have any questions with the last couple of minutes or ideas that people would like to bring up in the stage chat, or raising your hand to come up to the stage, is going to be the best way to get your idea across to the rest of the community with the last couple minutes we have. So I will leave this space open there for Q&A and questions. And Shifty, if you wouldn't mind going to the slide for that POAP, so people can grab it again if they want to. Awesome. There's their POAP, guys. If you haven't grabbed it already, apparently it was working at the beginning of the call, so that's exciting. Please scan that, grab that, collect them all. And do we have any questions that have hit the stage chat? Doesn't look like it. Cool. Well, I think with that, I'll leave another minute or so if someone wants to ask a question. And if not, we will have a very successful, very cool, busy governance call that ends a couple minutes early. So, Willie, do you have any last thoughts you want to share with the community while we've got a couple of seconds here?
Oh man, we got extra time on a governance call. I just want to acknowledge how rare that is because we've all been so busy down it, and yeah, just give my constant appreciation for each and every one of you guys. Every day I wake up and I'm so blessed to come hang out with you guys online and build cool shit. What we're building is so freaking cool. There's nothing else I would want to put my energy into in the world, and I'm glad that all of you guys are here on this journey. If anyone has any cool ideas for how we can DAO it better, please share it with the community and let's DAO it. Thanks, everyone. There's my impromptu motivational speech. I've always got one if you need one.
Thanks, Willie. Super appreciate it, and I'm so happy to be working with you and this decentralized future of ours. So, all right, Foxes, thanks for joining us for our governance call today. Oh, Meg is here. Let her speak. Meg, do you want to say something? You showed up in the last little bit here. We can have you join us, but if not, that's okay. Yeah, we'll just end it here. I'm going to bring Lo-Fi Girl back up on stage. Thank you guys for joining us for an awesome governance call. We'll post the slides in just a couple of minutes, along with the recording and recorded channel, the recorded meetings channel, and make it a good GM, Foxes.